The Kusanagi dojo, a place of discipline and tradition, had seen countless duels. The air here was thick with the weight of generations, each clash of fists echoing the rivalries of the past. But today, something was different. Today, the familiar dance of combat between Kyo Kusanagi and Iori Yagami would shatter everything they thought they knew. Kyo, the heir of the Kusanagi clan, moved with practiced grace. His flames, a vibrant crimson, danced around his fists, a testament to his mastery. Across from him, Iori Yagami, his eternal rival, was a storm of violet fury. His movements were predatory, his purple flames licking at the air, with a hunger that spoke of his Orochi lineage. Their rivalry wasn't just personal, it was a legacy, a curse woven into the very fabric of their bloodlines. The fight began as it always did, a blur of motion and a clash of elemental power. Fists met, flames collided, and the ground trembled beneath their feet. Kyo's Shiki Yami Barai, a wave of ground-hugging fire, raced towards Iori, who effortlessly snuffed it out with his own dark flames. Iori countered with the 108 Shiki Yami Barai, a near-identical technique that mocked Kyo's own. It was a familiar, brutal ballet. But then, as Kyo prepared to unleash his ultimate technique, the Euro 108 Shiki Kusanagi, a wave of nausea washed over him, his vision blurred. The vibrant crimson flames at his fingertips sputtered, their colors shifting, darkening, as if being consumed from within. He stumbled, his body suddenly feeling alien, heavy. Iori, sensing a shift in the battle's rhythm, paused his assault. "What's this, Kusanagi? Tired already?" he taunted, a cruel smirk playing on his lips. But his smirk vanished as he saw the change sweeping over Kyo. It started with his skin. A dark, obsidian hue crept up Kyo's arms, spreading like a shadow. It wasn't a bruise, it was a transformation. His skin hardened, petrifying into a substance that looked like volcanic rock, rough and unbreakable. Kyo gasped, a choked sound of pain and confusion, as he looked down at his own hands, now unrecognizable, monstrous. He felt a power coursing through him, but it wasn't his own. It was ancient, cold, and utterly terrifying. The transformation accelerated, sharp, cyan crystals, glowing with an eerie inner light, erupted from his forearms. They burst through his petrified skin, jagged and beautiful, like shards of a frozen star. An immense pressure radiated from Kyo's body, a wave of raw, untamed energy that pushed against everything in the dojo. The air grew heavy, crackling with a power that felt fundamentally wrong. Iori, who had faced the madness of the Ride of the Blood, felt a primal fear he hadn't known in years. This was not Kusanagi's power. It wasn't even Orochi's. This was something else, something older and far more destructive. The pressure wave slammed into him, not like a physical blow, but like a psychic scream. It forced him back, step by agonizing step, his own violet flames flickering weakly against the onslaught. Kyo let out a roar, a sound that was not entirely human. It was a symphony of agony and raw power. The crystals on his arms pulsed with a brilliant cyan light, and the ground around him cracked and splintered. The very structure of the dojo groaned under the strain. For the first time in their lives, the instinct for rivalry was overwhelmed by the instinct for survival. Iori, his face a mask of shock and alarm, knew he couldn't fight this. Not like this. With a final, shared glance of disbelief and horror, the two rivals broke apart. Iori leaped back, putting distance between himself and the epicenter of this bizarre event. Kyo, clutching his head as the strange power threatened to consume his mind, stumbled away in the opposite direction. The sparring match was over. The ancient rivalry was, for a fleeting moment, forgotten. As Kyo disappeared into the shadows, his body a horrifying canvas of black rock and glowing crystal, a chilling question hung in the air. What had he awakened? This was only the first manifestation, a terrifying prelude to a power that could unmake the world. The legend of Kyo Kusanagi had just taken its darkest turn. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe for the next chapter in this unfolding saga. The wind howled a desolate song across the ruins of Southtown, a city now more tomb than metropolis. Kyo Kusanagi stood amidst the wreckage, the air thick with the metallic tang of dried blood and the suffocating scent of ozone. He wasn't just a witness to this destruction. He was its epicenter. Every fractured building, every scorched piece of earth, was a testament to the power that now surged through him, a power he had never asked for, but was now irrevocably bound to. It felt like a living fire beneath his skin, a divine, terrible energy that whispered promises of creation and threats of annihilation. His friends, his allies, the ones who had fought by his side for years, now looked at him with a mixture of fear and awe. Benimaru's usual electrifying confidence was gone, replaced by a grim uncertainty. Goro Damon's stoic silence now held a weight of deep concern. They saw what he was becoming, not just Kyo, the hot-headed fighter, but a vessel for something ancient and vast. The flames he once controlled with practiced ease now leaped and danced with a will of their own, hungering for more than just a tournament bout. Suddenly, a presence cut through the tension. As sharp and cold as a shard of ice, Iori Yagami emerged from the shadows, his crimson hair a stark contrast to the gray devastation. But something was different. The wild, almost feral hatred that usually burned in his eyes was banked, replaced by a calculated intensity. He wasn't here for their timeless rivalry. He was here for the power. Kusanagi, he began, his voice a low growl that vibrated with a strange resonance. That power you hold, it doesn't belong to you. It's a key, and I know the lock it opens. Kyo tensed, his own flames flaring in response. Stay out of this, Yagami. This is my burden to bear. But Iori just laughed, a chilling, humorless sound. Burden? You call it a burden, you fool. It's a gift, an invitation. The world you know is a fragile illusion, a dream about to end. And you, Kyo, are the one who will wake us all up. He gestured to the sky, where the clouds were beginning to swirl in an unnatural vortex. Pulsing with a faint, sickly green light, the divine power within Kyo surged, resonating with that celestial disturbance as if answering a call. From the vortex, figures began to descend, not of this world. They were ethereal, their forms shifting like heat haze, their eyes glowing with an unsettling intelligence. Orochi's power, once sealed, was stirring. But this felt different, older. These were not the Hakusu. They were something else entirely. They ignored Iori. Their focus solely on Kyo. One of them, a being of coalesced shadow and light, spoke, its voice echoing not in the air, but directly in their minds. The vessel is primed. The confluence is at hand. The Amaterasu will be reborn through the ashes of this world. Iori's calm finally broke. He had expected to be the herald, the one to control this new era. Instead, he was being dismissed as an irrelevance. What is this? This wasn't the pact, he snarled, unleashing his own violet flames. But the ethereal beings were unfazed. One simply waved a hand, and Iori's flames were snuffed out as if they were nothing more than a candle's flicker. Panic, a rare and unsettling sight, flashed across Iori's face. He had sought ultimate power, only to find himself dwarfed by a force beyond his comprehension. It was in that moment of shared shock that Kyo understood. This wasn't just about Orochi or the rivalry of their clans. He was a pawn in a cosmic game, his very essence being used as a bridge to unleash a reality-ending power. The Amaterasu they spoke of wasn't the benevolent sun goddess of legend. It was a cleansing fire, a cataclysm. Looking at Iori, then at his own terrified friends, Kyo made a choice. He was no one's vessel, no one's key. He turned to Iori, the enemy he knew, the devil he understood. Yagami, we have a bigger problem. For the first time, a look of grudging agreement passed between them. The allegiance was shifting. To fight this new, terrifying threat, the sun and the moon would have to stand together or watch the world be consumed by a dawn of absolute nothingness. If you're invested in Kyo's fate, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter in this saga. The neon glow of the global stage casts long shadows, and in those shadows, legends are reborn. The King of Fighters tournament is back, bigger and more dangerous than ever. And at its heart, a man fights not just for victory, but for his very soul. This is the story of Kyo Kusanagi. Welcome to Episode 6, The Internal War. For centuries, the Kusanagi clan has stood as humanity's fiery shield against the darkness. Their sacred flames, a birthright passed down through generations, have held back the serpent god. Orochi, Kyo, the clan's most gifted heir, has carried this torch with pride, his martial arts ablazing. Dance of Destruction. He's defeated gods, saved the world, and carved his name into history. But every victory has come at a cost. Now, a new threat emerges. One that doesn't just attack from the outside, but from within. A cosmic goddess, a being of unimaginable power, has set her sights on our world. She doesn't seek to conquer with armies, but to consume with corruption. Her weapons are reality-warping crystals, shards of crystallized despair and ambition that have begun to litter the globe, poisoning everything they touch, and they've found their way to Kyo. The King of Fighters tournament of 2026 is a powder keg. Fighters from every corner of the world gather, some seeking glory, others driven by the strange, alluring power of the crystals. But for Kyo, the arena has become a prison. The crystals have latched onto him, whispering promises of power beyond his wildest dreams. They feed on his legacy, twisting the sacred Kusanagi flame into something cold and alien. With every punch, every signature move, Kyo feels the change. His flames burn with a chilling, crystalline light. His movements, once pure martial artistry, are now punctuated by flashes of warped reality. The power of the goddess is seeping into his very being, offering him the strength to overcome any opponent, but at the price of his own identity. He is becoming a bridge, an unwilling conduit for an ancient, world-ending power to pour into our reality. This is the internal war. Kyo's mind is a battlefield. On one side, the discipline and honor of the Kusanagi style, the weight of his ancestors' legacy. On the other, the seductive, limitless power of the goddess. He can feel himself splitting in two. The man he was versus the monstrous vessel he is becoming. His friends and rivals, like Iori Yagami, sense the change. They see the conflict in his eyes, the alien power that now clings to his famous crimson flames. Can they reach the man they know before he's completely lost? The tournament is just the beginning. Each fight pushes Kyo further down this dark path. He must find a way to control this new power without being consumed by it. He has to balance the ancient martial arts of his clan with the reality-warping chaos now coursing through his veins. But how do you fight an enemy that lives inside your own head, that wears your face and speaks with your voice? The fate of the world hangs in the balance, and it all rests on one man's struggle against himself. Will Kyo Kusanagi find a way to master this terrifying new power and remain the hero we know? Or will he become the very harbinger of destruction he once swore to defeat? The internal war has begun, and the world will tremble before its conclusion. If you want to see how Kyo's battle unfolds, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next chapter in this epic saga. See you next time. The year is 2026. A shadow has fallen over the legacy of the Kusanagi clan, a legacy once defined by honor, duty, and the sacred flame. But now, that flame flickers on the brink of being extinguished by a darkness far more ancient and terrifying than any enemy they have ever faced. At the heart of this storm stands Kyo Kusanagi, no longer the confident hero we knew, but a vessel, an unwilling bridge to a power that threatens to consume not just his soul, but the entire world. This entity, this goddess of annihilation, has woven herself into the very fabric of Kyo's being. His every thought is a battle, every breath a struggle against her insidious will. The Kusanagi flame, once a symbol of his strength, now feels like a sputtering candle against a hurricane. He sees through his own eyes, yet the world is tinted with her malevolent desire. He hears his friends' voices, but they are drowned out by her whispers of cosmic destruction. Iori Yagami, his eternal rival, sees the change. He sees the flicker of something alien in Kyo's gaze and knows this is a fight that goes beyond their personal feud. The world's greatest fighters, from Terry Bogard to the members of Team Ikari, have tried to intervene. They fought Kyo, not to defeat him, but to break the goddess's hold, to reach the friend they once knew. But their efforts are futile. Each clash only seems to feed the entity, allowing it to further entwine its power with Kyo's, making him stronger, more volatile, and less human with every passing moment. The heroes of the world are exhausted, their hope dwindling as they watch one of their own become the harbinger of their end. In this desperate hour, one man steps forward from the shadows of the past, Kyo Kusanagi, Kyo's father and the former head of the clan. He has watched in agony as his son has been twisted into a puppet of chaos. He knows that conventional methods are useless against a power that predates their world. Kyo carries with him the clan's darkest secret, a forbidden scroll detailing a sealing ritual so dangerous, so volatile. It was meant to be forgotten forever. The rite doesn't destroy the target. It transfers the seal, binding the entity to a new host. At the cost of the host's own life force, it is a one-way trip, a final, desperate gambit. As Kyo, or rather the goddess wearing his face, unleashes a wave of destructive energy that tears through the city, Kyo appears before him. There are no grand speeches, no tearful goodbyes, only the quiet resolve of a father prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice. He begins the ancient chant, his hands weaving signs that burn with a crimson light. The goddess within Kyo shrieks, recognizing the ancient magic. She forces Kyo's body to attack, to unleash the full might of his corrupted flames against his own father. Kyo stands his ground, and during the searing assault, his focus unbreakable. The ritual intensifies. The air crackles with an otherworldly energy as Kyo draws the entity's power towards himself. For a fleeting, heart-wrenching moment, the goddess's grip on Kyo loosens. His own eyes, clear and filled with horror, look out and see what is happening. He sees his father sacrificing himself, his life force being drained away to buy him a sliver of freedom. "Dad," he cries, his true voice breaking through the cacophony for the first time in months. But it's too late. With a final, explosive surge of light, the ritual concludes. Kyo Kusanagi collapses, his body little more than a husk, the last of his life's flame extinguished. The forbidden ritual was not a complete success. The goddess was not fully transferred or sealed. She remains coiled within Kyo, wounded and enraged. But Kyo's sacrifice was not in vain. He shattered her absolute control. He gave Kyo a fighting chance, a brief window of clarity amidst the storm raging inside him. Now, Kyo is no longer just a passenger. He is a warrior fighting from within, armed with the memory of his father's love and the desperate hope of a world on the brink. The battle for his soul, and for the fate of everyone, has just begun.